Let's find a comfy seat, something that feels supportive, gives you full access to a vertical spine. And we'll be all good. Finding some ease within the breath, some ease within the body, some capacity to let the day roll away. Maybe we let our eyes close here. Allow yourself the opportunity to make any adjustments that feel like they will be impactful in either the cycle of breath or the physicality of the shape. We'll give ourselves about 30 more seconds just to settle in. And when it feels appropriate, we'll let the eyes softly blink open if they are closed. Let's transition to hands and knees tabletop. We're going to warm up the wrists a little bit. So finding your way to tabletop and then taking the four fingers and letting them point towards the edges of your mat. As you do so, kind of feel how there's a different humeral head placement and how that placement kind of changes the way that you can interact with shoulder engagement. My preference is probably not to let the body weight just completely sag, although that does give a deeper approximation of the joint, but having a little bit of energy up into that shoulder joint. And then if this feels super accessible, maybe we take the fingers and we point them back towards our knees. And then maybe we even do a little bit of exploration with the positioning of the body weight, cycling in one direction to begin with. You may feel this impacting that underneath forearm tissue, posterior forearm tissue, if we're getting super technical. And then maybe we reverse our direction. And if having the fingers back towards you is not right, you can go with hands out to the edges still. Just something that feels impactful for you. And then eventually we'll come back to neutral torso alignment. Let the hands flip towards a more traditional alignment. Really splay the fingers out wide. So drive as much width as you can across the hands. Let's curl our toes and we'll roll back into down dog. And as we get back and up into this down dog, and we have that big hand connection, note how the finger mounds are really impactful here. When we open up some forearm space, it can be a lot easier to get that front of the hand connectivity. And then let's come back down to hands and knees tabletop. And we're going to play with a little bit more of this wrist forearm space. So turn your left hand over so that you come on the back side of that hand and just see if that feels possible for you, right? We still have that right hand holding weight so that we have more capacity, and then try to splay those fingers out once again. So as we root down here, we're really getting that width into the hands, trying to activate all of this forearm musculature. And then let's flip that back to a traditional alignment, and we'll do the same thing to the right side. So we, again, splay that hand out and connect as much energy into the fingers as is possible so that we can get this forearm musculature to really play with us. And then when you feel balanced, we'll come back to neutral. Let's sink back into child's pose. Child's pose here, more or less just an opportunity for the wrist stability musculature to relax and rejuvenate. So put your hands in a place where you receive nice, easy blood flow. That may be down by your sides or back by your feet. It may be over your head or kind of closer to your forehead, maybe in stacked hands underneath the forehead. But blood flow to the wrist is what we're looking for. And then let's inhale and we'll pull ourselves forward to hands and knees tabletop. To get into that tabletop space, splay those fingers out wide once again. You may still have some instability or some fatigue sensation around the wrist. Drive into the fingerprints themselves more and then curl the toes and lift the seat into down dog. Be a little harder to get the energy into the finger mounds now, but press down into those fingertips and really try to activate the hands. And then let's walk our way forward into fold. We'll inhale into half lift. Exhale your way back down into fold. Let your body completely release. Drift your awareness to your sacrum, and we'll roll ourselves up vertebrae by vertebrae, head and neck. The last things to join our vertical alignment. Let the breath normalize here in the top of the shape. And then let's interlace the fingers and push the palms away from us. So seeing if this is accessible. If this isn't accessible for the shoulders, keep the palms towards you. Stay integrated in that shoulder space. And then release the fingers and sweep the arms up and overhead. So now we have a separated traditional width space, about shoulder width. And then exhale through forward fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Plant your hands. We'll walk our way back into down dog. Shift the weight forward to plank. Check on how the fingers and finger mounds react to that. And then we'll lift the seat back into down dog. Let's come down to hands and knees tabletop. Flip the tops of the feet and sink back into child's pose. A little breath in your child's pose as you land. Second time through, feel how the hip compression changes, how the depth capacity is shifted. We'll give ourselves just 30 more seconds here. Last big full inhale and full complete releasing exhale. Sink all the way into this depth. And then let's pull ourselves forward to hands and knees tabletop. We'll curl our toes and lift our seat into down dog. Slide your right foot forward in between your hands. And then keeping that hand connection available so that you have some lateral balance, let's slide back into the right hamstring. So this is an unwarmed up expression of the hamstring. So really just think about pushing back until you feel the hamstring activate, and then think about the tailbone lifting up, not the middle of the back, but the tailbone. And so it's almost like you want to push down. It's almost like you want to activate that lumbar capacity by squeezing the core, and then lift your tailbone up. Really different than pushing the back up, but tailbone only, back neutralizes. And then we'll bend the right leg and step the right foot back into down dog. The nice asymmetry in our down dog space here. Our right side should have some more freedom. Try to drive back into that, and then we'll send our left foot forward into lunge. Again, hands are providing some lateral stability, and then we'll slide back into that left hamstring, just activating, and then awareness drifts to the sacrum, and we drive that up. The sensation can kind of feel between the two, right? It could be back, it could be up. They're both right. The tailbone is doing both of those. The key is we're not feeling the rise or the arch in the middle of the back. There's no flexion coming. And then when you feel balance left to right, we'll bend that left knee, step our left foot back, and into down dog. Shift your weight forward to plank. Test that finger mound, fingerprint activation, and then we'll lift our seat back into down dog. We'll walk ourselves forward into fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Drift your awareness to your sacrum. We'll roll ourselves up, vertebrae by vertebrae, head and neck. The last pieces to join this verticality, hands coming together at heart center. Feeling that stability of mountain. Slide your left foot straight back into lunge. Land and anchor. Sweep the arms straight up to express crescent. Float the hands down to the mat. We'll step the left foot forward back into fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Awareness drifts to the sacrum. We'll roll ourselves up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Hands coming together at heart center. Slide your right foot straight back. Lunge. Think about that strength, the verticality of the torso. We'll sweep ourselves up, full expression of crescent. Put the hands down to the mat, and we'll step forward into fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Plant your hands, and we'll walk our way back into down dog. Shift forward to plank and lower yourself down to your belly. Flip the tops of the feet, flex the quads. Give yourself a little baby cobra energy. Completely dependent upon what feels like it'll benefit you the most. So if you want to lift the forehead, if you want to keep the forehead anchored, if you want to broaden and squeeze in those elbows, but just baby cobra energy, take a little bit of that extension energy through the spine for 10 more seconds. And then we'll relax. Slide the hands underneath the forehead for a little crocodile pose. And we'll just breathe. Nice fluid inhales and exhales. There's this little village, the center of this beautiful forest. This village has this huge, massive water tower, or what we might think of as a water tower. A communal water resource. This particular village is full, just above a very wide valley where a river runs through the middle. And in order for the village to get the water to their communal water tower, they have to manually bring that water up. And they become quite good at this over the generations. Let's give ourselves just 15 more seconds here. And when it feels appropriate, we'll slide our hands underneath our shoulders. We'll press ourselves up to hands and knees tabletop. And then from hands and knees tabletop, balance the weight in the hands and really think about how the wrist and the knees are in alignment with one another. And then take your, let's do the hard hand first. We'll take the right hand and just cross the body here. Now, this doesn't need to rotate. We're just bringing some strength into this left arm. So if there's a bend in the right elbow, which there is for me because my right shoulder is not thrilled with me, that's fine. And then we'll plant the right hand. And we'll do the same thing to the second side. So left arm's just going to reach across. You know, you get this nice little lateral edge pull on the shoulders. And then the left hand comes down and plants. See if you can feel that increased connectivity with the shoulder socket as you curl your toes, lift your seat, and roll back into down dog. From down dog, we'll walk our way forward into fold. Inhale into half lift. And exhale back into fold. Slide your left foot straight back into lunge. Slide back into the right hamstring. Hopefully we have a little bit more room this time. Lay the toes out on both feet, but in particular on your right foot. And now keep in mind that the right hamstring does not have to be fully flexed. We don't need a fully straight leg. We're just looking for hamstring activation, and then we're going to sweep ourselves up into a little modified crescent, right? Little instability, really putting the pressure of stability on our right hamstring. And then see if you can keep that front leg relatively activated hamstring-wise, and we'll float the hands back down to the mat. Then bend the right knee and slide the left foot forward into fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. And then we'll slide our right foot straight back into lunge. Slide back into that left hamstring. Think about activating that musculature. Lay the toes out on the left foot for stability. And then sweep yourself up. Once you feel like you've established this verticality, we'll see if you can keep that front leg activated as you bring the hands back down. And we'll bend that left knee and step the right foot forward into fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Drift your awareness to your sacrum. You can sweep or roll yourself up to mountain. Hands coming together at heart center. We'll slide our left foot straight back into lunge. Ground our left heel. Find warrior two. Blossom into that space. Slide back into your right hamstring. So we start to set the triangle alignment. And then right hand's just going to reach forward. Straight forward. Good long torso. We drop that hand, we're right in triangle. We'll bend the front knee and come down right forearm to right thigh. Take that left hand and extend it straight out. Think about this lateral line. And then we'll use the left oblique to bring us into warrior two. Awesome here. Left heel spins up. We're into crescent. Hands drop to heart center. We'll return to the front of the mat. Nice, easy, fluid breath. Nice work. Beautiful. Right foot slides straight back. Right heel grounds, and we blossom into two. Think about that openness, fluidity. Left hamstring slides back, and we take that left hand forward. Good long line here. Good active stability on that bottom side, posterior side. Then we'll bend that left knee, left forearm to the thigh, right arm reaches straight out, creating this elongated torso. Think about that stack of the shoulder. Right oblique is going to bring us back up into two. Right heel spins up, crescent. Right hand drops to heart center, and we will find our way to mountain. Sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale through forward fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Plant your hands. We'll walk into down dog. Shift forward to plank. Drop the knees to tabletop. Flip the tops of the feet and sink back into child's pose. Good. Solid landing spot. Nice fluid breath. We'll give ourselves about 40 more seconds here. Last 10 seconds. When it feels appropriate, let's pull ourselves forward to hands and knees, tabletop. From tabletop, splay those fingers out wide. We'll curl our toes, lift our seat, find our way back into down dog. Drive that length back, get that hamstring activation. Think about what the heels are doing on the backside of our shape. And then let's take our right foot, we'll extend it straight back and behind us. And then step our right foot forward into lunge. As the right foot lands, I want you to note where the left foot is, and then think about closing the space by moving your left foot halfway forward between where it is and where your right heel is. So we end up with an ability to ground both heels. And then think about hugging back into this anterior hip crease on the right side. I'm pointing to the left, but think about that right side hugging back. And then we're going to sweep ourselves up and activate this right hamstring in a way where you still feel stability. We want to have enough kind of mid-body awareness that we can feel stable. And with the arms extending towards the ceiling, point the palms towards one another. And then we're going to take a little half fold, extending those fingertips towards the front of the room. And then sweep back up. Think about bringing that quad into this so that we get some quad strength to turn on. And we'll take that half fold once again, arms extending towards the front of the room. Splay the toes out wide. Sweep yourself up. Quad is active. We're strong on that front leg. This time we're going to go for the full fold, reaching all the way forward and then releasing the hands down. Thinking about that right hamstring receiving here. Breathing fluidly and easily. And then using the strength of the right hamstring and the strength of your hand connection, slide your left foot back to its full depth. Now, we're relatively active in the hamstring. You can play with being more or less active, so more or less straight on that right leg. And then we'll bend the right knee and sweep ourselves up in a crescent. Right hamstring has some fatigue, so you may feel some of that instability. Put those hands down on the mat, and we'll step the right foot back into down dog. Now, we should have some real nice space on that right side, so try to feel into the asymmetry. And we'll just give ourselves an opportunity to get this depth, and then we'll take our left foot and extend it straight back and behind us. And stepping our left foot forward into lunge. Gauging that distance between the left and right foot, we'll move the right foot roughly halfway up. Activate by taking the anterior hip crease on this left side and hugging it back. And then we'll sweep ourselves up. You can put more energy into that left hamstring if it feels stable for you. And then we'll take this half fold, extending the arms towards the front of the room, getting this neutral elongation of the spine, and then sweeping back up. Think about activating the quad. So we have that leg musculature with us as we take our second half fold. And then sweep back up. Get that leg to engage. Think about being rooted here. And we're going all the way through our fold. Hands coming down. That left hamstring receiving here. We want the back long. Finding our cycle of breath and ease, even if it doesn't feel easy. And then thinking about the left hamstring and the hands as our guide, we'll slide our right foot back so that we end up in this pyramid-esque shape, getting this left hamstring to receive, deciding whether we want to hug back into that depth further or not. And then eventually we'll bend that left knee and sweep ourselves up into this nice little fatigued hamstring crescent. Side two. And then we'll float those hands down to the mat. Step the left foot back into what should be a nice open version of down dog. Really drive that length. Think about the hands, the fingers, the finger mounds. Think about that first down dog. recreate that with extra space. Come down to hands and knees, tabletop, flip the tops of the feet, and sink back into child's pose. And so, because gathering water is such an important part of this community's ability to thrive, they have built a pretty significant culture around gathering water. One of the things they do is they have a contest who can gather the water most efficiently. And that contest is not just about strength or speed or the combination of the two, but it's about human ingenuity, crafting the vessels to move the water from the river to the water tower. Give ourselves about 30 more seconds here. Long ago, the entirety of the collective community kind of has decided on a jug style water mover. And this is because in the basin of the valley where the river sits, it's very rocky and uneven. So vessels with big open tops tend to spill the water before they get to the hill, which is relatively smooth. We'll give ourselves another last breath here. And then when you feel ready, we'll pull ourselves forward to hands and knees, tabletop. From tabletop, let's curl the toes underneath us so we activate this shape and then lift straight up into plank. Lift the seat back into down dog. Shift our weight forward to plank. Lift our seat back into down dog. And then we'll walk our way forward into fold. Inhaling into half lift. Exhaling back into fold. Drifting our awareness to our sacrum, we'll roll ourselves up vertebrae by vertebrae. Bringing our hands together, heart center. Interlacing the fingers and pressing those away from us. Again, palms either away from us or towards us, depending on what feels ideal for the shoulders. And then release, point the palms towards one another and sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale through forward fold. Take that appreciation for the posterior chain expansion into your fold. Wrap your arms around the legs. This can be the calves, the hamstrings, the heels, the ankles. Give yourself a little squeeze. Remember that the knees can bend. Release and inhale to half lift. And then exhale back into your fold. Settle all the way. And then once again, clasp and squeeze. Plant the hands. We'll walk our way back into down dog. Down to hands and knees, tabletop. I'll extend the legs straight out in front of us. As the legs extend, let's follow them forward into a fold. We'll give ourselves 45 more seconds here. And as it feels appropriate, we'll walk ourselves staff and then straight onto our backs. Allowing the mat to greet you here. Allowing your body to receive all of that posterior chain work that we've done. See if you can feel how the hamstring elongation manifests in more neutrality in the lumbar spine. Let's give ourselves about 30 more seconds just to settle in and appreciate here. And when it feels appropriate, let's bring both knees into a bent position. And then we are going to extend the right leg down the mat. So the right heel gets as far away from us as possible. And then extend the right arm overhead so that it's reaching towards the wall behind us, not towards the ceiling. Palm up, right palm up. Left arm can be kind of wherever feels comfortable. Then the left foot is going to elevate. We're going to keep the left knee at a 90-degree bend. So the bottom of the left foot points away from us. And then we're going to simultaneously extend the right hand and left foot towards the ceiling and bring them towards one another. And then we'll rebend that left knee and extend the right arm towards the wall behind you. And so exhale, feel the lumbar neutralize, extend that left foot and right hand, and then inhale and retract back. And let's do that 2 more times. So we'll exhale and release. And then exhale and release the left foot all the way down so that it mirrors the right. Right arm can come to mirroring the left or cactus, whatever feels appropriate for you. With an inhale, we'll bend the right knee. Extend the left arm overhead towards the wall behind you, not towards the ceiling. And then we'll lift that right foot. Right knee stays in that 90-degree bend. Exhale, and we extend the foot and the arm, bring them towards one another. Inhale, back to their positions. Exhale, extend. Inhale, retract. 2 more times. Exhale, extend. Inhale, retract. Exhale, extend. And inhale, release. Arms to cactus T or by your sides, both legs extended down the mat. Breath. Fluid. Inhale and bend both knees. And let the knees start to rock side to side, a little dynamic sway. Thinking about unwinding any stickiness in the spine. Really exploring our capacity here. Next time Let the knees fall over to the left. Let's let them stay there. We'll settle. Breathe and be at ease. And so those the collective of the society is settled on the best shape for their water vessels. They started to play with different materials and different flexible materials that allowed them to press and squeeze and therefore expel the water faster. You're pouring through a little spout. It can take a long time. They ended up being able to get like a 2-minute pour down to about 30 seconds. And that was kind of earth shattering at the time. And still, every year, people make little kind of tweaks and adjustments. A millimeter here, a little extra flexibility there. And they hold this big contest where everybody fills up these mini water towers to prove what the best possible style of water vessel might be. So the contest is pretty simple. You pick one shape, you run down to the river, you traverse this rocky, uneven terrain, then you come back and you make your way up the hill, you pour it in your little miniaturized water tower, and whoever fills their miniaturized water tower first, they win. There's no prize other than pride, and the community will use your style for the next year. Last 45 seconds here. When it feels appropriate, we'll bring our knees back to neutral. And then let the knees fall over to that second side, that right side, settling in a way that is supportive of your body and your shape here. And so this particular year's contest, this young woman shows up and she has an open topped vessel. It's like an oval bowl, some good depth to it. But it is actually significantly wider at the opening than it is at the base. It's made out of some type of metal alloy, has a relatively thin rim. And everyone, as they see her shows up, laughs at her because every open top vessel ever has failed at moving the water across this rocky and uneven terrain near the river. And so they're poking fun at her, saying, that'll be a very quick pour if you had any water to pour in by the time you got your little water tower. And she just quietly smiles back at them. Eventually, the contest starts and everyone rushes down to the river. She rushes down right alongside them. But when she gets down to the river, she starts picking up stones. Everyone else is plunging their jug in, using different methods of depressurizing. And she doesn't even put her bowl-like shape into the water at all. She just moves stones. She starts moving stones further and further away from the river. Eventually, she's cleared out this little path. And in that cleared path space where she's gotten down to the softer, sandy sediment, she plunges her bowl into this soft earth and she starts to carve this little tiny canal away from the river and towards the hill that she'll have to climb. Last 15 seconds here on the second side. When it feels appropriate, as it feels appropriate, we'll bring her knees back to neutral. And as the knees come back to neutral, ask yourself if there's anything that you might want, need, or could benefit from prior to Shavasana. There is. Offer that to your body now. And if you have everything that you need, if you're ready for your version of stillness, then let's offer that to our body now. Finding our version of Shavasana tonight. And so with this little metal bowl, she scrapes this canal across the rocky, uneven terrain in the bottom of the river basin into the hill, carves out a little pool, and then she fills her bowl, walks up the hill, and pours it in. She can empty her water vessel in seconds. And so she quickly catches up and then overtakes and then wins the contest. People cry foul, but the rules were simple. You can only use one water vessel. And that's what she did. Start to bring some movement to our fingers and our toes, our wrists and our ankles, elbows and knees, shoulders and hips, neck, head, jaw, eyes, tongue. Eventually, the entirety of the body can move, and we can utilize that movement to transition from the shapes we are in, and we'll find our way back into a seat. Seated space, spine gets tall, breath gets full and fluid, eyes closed. Just feeling into the space you've crafted and the breath you now have within that space. And with your next inhale, we'll bring our hands together at heart center. Over the course of the next 7 days, can you remind yourself of the power of having not just a flexible body, but a flexible mind? See how that impacts your experience. Thank you so much for being a part of this evening's practice and for being you. Namaste. Happy Monday, guys. Appreciate the heck out of you being here. Have a beautiful week. We'll be back on Sunday to recharge. I love the heck out of you. Mwah.